morning. It's Friday.
Good
And that means we're
morning.
here. And
Yeah,
I'm here and I'm Jill
I'm Deb.
and oh yeah, and Zorro said he wants to be
Oh,
seen too. Yeah.
oh, oh yeah. Oh yeah. So, how's everything on your camp? How are you doing?
Our camp is doing pretty well. We have had a busy week, and it was a full moon last night.
Oh,
So, gotta do a little moon howling along with the
yes.
coyotes,
Yes, yes.
right?
Right.
And all the things swirling around, and been getting a bunch of new folks to see who are all being told that they are end of life. So lots of absorbing of all the ways
I
that
know
loss
that
can hit
feeling.
in so many places.
I I totally agree. And at the end of life, it's also I just want to give a shout out to my husband. It is our anniversary, 32 years.
Happy anniversary. We're at 12 next week.
Wow.
Not 32, but 12.
Yeah, yeah,
You know.
and a few birthdays and a
Oh,
bunch of
can I
May
jump in?
birthdays.
Happy
Yes,
birthday to my daughter Charity. It is her birthday today.
happy birthday, Charity, and happy birthday to Evelyn, a friend of ours. And yeah, so that is the scoop. It is a tie-dye day, and bringing in a little sunshine. And
Yeah, we don't have sunshine here today. We have kind of gloomy, cloudy, which is fine. It's nice to not be in the Bernie heat yet
oh,
because we know
oh,
that's coming.
exactly, exactly. Um, I had sent, I can't pull it up on my phone and I
I
apologize. And it's maybe people have seen on Facebook, it's called Tiny Buddha. And there's these like sort of sayings by different people, some quotes, some whatever. And it is, I, they always touch me emotionally. And one I put on my Facebook page, Jill's, and or called attention to it, however, and Humor, Grace, and Grief, because it talked about all these losses and that people don't talk about these losses. And I go, Jill and I talk about these
We
losses.
do.
So if you
I'm
don't
trying to pull it
mind,
up right now. I'm
yeah,
working on it as we speak.
that's great. That's great.
Just hang in there. So
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
there's so many ways that grief hits. And it's not showing up. It is
Well,
not showing up.
well, I think a few of them are one, and I was talking about this with a really close friend on Sunday. So I'll just sort of start in, and maybe
Yes.
that's why that really meant a lot more to me, is we have dreams as, when we're little to growing up. And sometimes you get in your 60s and your 70s, and not everybody, but you say, "Oh, I didn't make my dream." And that is like a loss. And just whether it lasts for a long time or a little time, that feeling. In Hamilton, when uh, when someone falls in love with him, blah 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 blah, realizes Hamilton will never be satisfied. In fact, the song goes, "You'll never be satisfied," and so I'm not going to sing it. And how do we become satisfied with goals that were never met exactly, or could they be met good enough, or there never be good enough? How does one deal with that kind of grief of loss of dreams? And we see it especially when in the deafing world, that um that when a child dies and the parents are still living, that is not how it's supposed to be. That's not part of my dream. Or in when a born child dies, or you have a miscarriage, or whatever during that time, those are dreams that are never realized. So I'm sort of done talking and let Jill jump in. And yeah, what say ye, Jill? Jill, sorry.
I found the quote,
Yes.
and it's from Willie Green, who is featured on Tiny Buddha, and it says, "So much of life is just quiet grief, grieving the life you imagined but never lived, the versions of you that settled, the childhood innocence you didn't get to keep, grieving what mistakes cost you, grieving people who are still alive, people you wish were still with you, grieving the parts of you that heartbreak changed, and sending love to those feeling it all. Be patient with yourself." Right?
Exactly. You know, you probably see it more in your practice, Jill, people who, especially if their parents or loved ones have dementia, there's no way to go back to make yourself understood.
Dementia is a special kind of loss where you can
Mhm.
say goodbye, but then they don't remember that you said goodbye, and you have to live with, "I said the things I needed to say, and they
Mhm.
heard them in that moment," which is
Mhm.
not so dissimilar, all things being equal, with saying goodbye to someone who then dies because they're still not here to verify that they heard it, but you said it, and
Mhm.
you said the things that needed to be said.
Right.
But likewise, when someone is dying and they have to say goodbye to parts of themselves, to things they wanted to accomplish, to places they wanted to go. That's why I'm not super fond of the whole concept of having a bucket list, because that's stress. Oh my gosh, that's one more thing I gotta do. Don't tell me I gotta do. If I'm dying, I get to reserve the right to say I don't gotta do. Right? I know that's not at all grammatical, and I'm like the grammar police 101. I will correct your spelling, but you can't tell me I got to do when I got to die. That's just not going to happen.
You know, as one who did not make a bucket list, but made a boutique list when given a certain diagnosis, you know, um, you can, a minister that I've had in the past would always, when she would do her prayers, she would say, "This God or something better." I have, made certain certain things in my head to say, it's okay if I don't do this. It's okay if I don't wear this before I die. I mean, like I said, I've done a lot because it reframed bucket list for me to a boutique list, things I'm going to wear, right? And, but there were things I'm not going to be able to do, or maybe
Right?
I will. Yeah. And
A list of things I'm going to give away to the universe that somebody else can do. The I don't need to do this, but I want to do that kind of thing. It's there's just so many things, and there's so much input now.
yes.
It's
And
never ending.
if let's say, and I did this with my friend Jeannie, like when calendars went on sale, and there was probably a good chance in January that we would not make it to Hawaii. So instead of making it to Hawaii, I sent her a Hawaiian calendar. So every month she could, you know, put something up, see a different part of Hawaii. Is that good enough? No, it's not going to. How do you resolve when you can't do exactly the way. Is something good enough?
Is
I d-
something enough to bring it in, the essence of it in? When
yes,
when we had a cruise planned and we couldn't go
yeah,
because one of our cruisers had a massive stroke.
right.
First thing Stacy did while we're sitting in ICU is order porthole pictures of the sea going past. And so when that person came out of their induced sedation to get the brain pressure down, the walls were filled with pictures as if we were on a cruise ship.
Yes,
When Casper was dying, the room that she was in was scented with flowers flown in from Hawaii and Christmas trees because those were favorite things. She wasn't going to see Christmas. We weren't going to get back to Hawaii, but it was there.
exactly, exactly. Um, so when my ex and I were on speaking terms, and I don't mind saying that now, but he was having some major intestinal surgery, and I knew his favorite was Steak and Shake. So when he woke up, I had Steak and Shake placemats, things hanging around him, so that, I can't give you what you want, but I can at least make you smile,
Bring the
something like
memory
that.
in.
Yes,
Bring the
yes.
memory in. Deborah Richtmeyer said, my
Oh,
brother has dementia and aggressive late stage cancer and is starting hospice home care today. I'm glad hospice is coming. We visited him 2 weeks ago and he knew we were and was so happy and thankful that we were there. We are so glad we moved up our visit to be able to see him while he was still present. It is a
yes.
sad time for my family. The silver lining was how strongly his wife and I bonded. She is wonderful. So glad they found each other 6 years ago. Wish they could have had more time together. Yeah, it's
Yes,
the woulda,
yes.
couldas, but they did get some of it.
And thank you, Deborah. She and I have not connected, and I'm so glad you wrote, and I'm going to write you right after the show. So I
Sometimes we got to be happy with what we've got and what we can do, and the little
yes,
places we can go to mitigate some of the losses and yet
yes.
bring in the memories that bring some joy
And how
in
do
the
you
sadness.
and the sadness and accepting the sadness as part of the life. I mean,
Right.
if you keep pushing away sadness, that is a stress in itself. But I don't want to minimize when there is a miscarriage or a
Yeah.
death of a child
Or a
and
death of anyone.
of anyone, but especially to recognize that loss and those feelings and being present for them in whatever way you can. Uh, when a family member had a miscarriage, and my sister-in-law, who is a midwife and teaches midwifery, she said, oh, there's these places online where you can order like a stone from the month that they died, or that they came out into this world. So like
Right.
if they were pregnant in July and now it's September, you can get a little birthstone with, we'll remember you, just to commemorate. And I know, let's go back 50 years. People didn't do that, right? They said, you'll get over it. It happens to all women and you can always try again. 3 horrible things. And
And that's
and
not okay, folks. Just bottom lining it.
yeah,
Not okay.
okay. So
Mm.
those kind of dreams, and what about loss of dreams from a marriage?
That
Not
ends
just
by
because
death
the
or
person,
divorce.
right? This isn't what you signed up for.
Right.
You signed
I
up.
signed up for rocking chairs with Linda. And while
Yes.
I'm glad for rocking chairs with Stacy, I signed up originally for rocking chairs with Linda
Yeah.
and then with Casper. And we actually sit on Casper's rocking chairs to watch
Yes.
when the grandchildren are in the backyard. And the
Yes.
oodles, because the grandchildren, darn it, they moved away. But they do come and visit. We have to transition those dreams and those hopes and acknowledge the losses and
Hmm.
acknowledge the new joys.
And the new joys. And I wouldn't point out I'm reluctant to point out new joys till the other person, the person
Is
who,
there.
initiates that,
Right.
even as a question. And the question is, lots of times when you recognized your loss, whether it's a death of a marriage, through divorce, or through biological death, and dreams unmet, and then you meet someone new, and there's a certain amount of guilt or whatever, and I wait for that person to go, I'm happy and I'm sad. I'm also a little weirded out, or however they might say that. And it's okay. It's okay to have both.
Exactly. I'm watching several loved ones right now navigating ongoing illness and losses that are very serious. And
Mm-hmm.
in North Carolina, I'm so grateful to Casper's niece Carla for taking care of my brother-in-law Jay.
Yeah.
He is in fact at end of life, and they are able to bring in the joy as well as navigate the sadness. They've had lots of practice because lots of losses.
Yes.
But I will say that Carla also, she lost a pregnancy, and she acknowledges her daughter's birth every single year without exception.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so proud of her for doing that, and so glad she does, because it gives other people permission every year to share their losses.
Yeah.
And then the one that's happening here where it's ongoing horrible illness, it's all the losses of all the ways that life has changed, and recognizing how other people don't respond well.
Right.
I had to remind myself last night to keep my darn phone on at night, because there's now going to maybe a need to do a run somewhere because of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Those kinds of shifts and changes that we navigate as loss goes on.
Right.
And as people are seeing someone's abilities change, they have to change how they are living their lives around it.
That's, yes. And so
all the yes, right?
All the ands and yeses.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to integrate means combining, and like a run-on sentence, and like a comma, and
all of it.
It's like doing that with life. And it's,
don't cough.
Oh my, it's my usual, but I do have coffee. No pun intended. Coffee
sip. Mm-hmm.
And I try to model that for people.
Right.
And when talking about my own life, or talking about, in movies or in books or whatever, it is to give yourself permission, and others, like you and I do, when we say that's okay to feel that. That is a normal feeling. And
it's perfectly normal at a perfectly abnormal time. And then someone says, I've done this so many times. You're right. And that's not normal either, but that's how life has shaken itself out. And so you're learning to adapt probably better than 90% of the population. Sorry you had to learn it that way, but you've learned.
Yeah. Why do people say, why do I have to repeat this lesson again? Well, I'm not in charge, so I don't know. However, you take the wisdom from before, you apply it now. And people ask me, how how do you work around so many dying people? How do you constantly do this? And I said, well, I've been telling you for years, I make it all up. And they don't believe me, right? Each case is so unique. There's like gravity, a few rules. What goes up comes down. I'm telling you, every case is so unique. And it's the same way with any kind of person that expresses a loss. Every case is different. Or, like a chaplain said to me once when I said, I feel like a failure while my mom's dying. And she said, have you ever lost? Has your mom ever died before?
Right.
Not like you get practice or
Right.
a dress rehearsal. It's the show.
It is the one. Although my kids have had that practice a few times, but that's because they're special.
Right. But they did not have the practice. What the practice they had with one did not all apply for the next one. No. So to recognize each loss is unique. It's not all the same.
Ian says he can vouch for that.
Yeah.
And I got to say, Ian's place in Italy is probably one of my only bucket list things. I just want to go sit and watch the vineyards.
Oh,
that's
yes, and yes.
That's one of my touchstones right now because when you have lots of death occurring around you and illness occurring around you,
right,
you got to have a place you can check out of. Right.
And yes, and not check out with drugs or food. No. Although I have over the weeks bought myself a can of frosting and gluten-free crackers. Gluten-free frosting and gluten. So if I'm going to check out, it better taste damn good. Mm-hmm. So, but I get it. It's experience. And then you say, what is it of the experience that I really want? Do I want something new? Do I just feel so called to, and I'll use yours, go to Italy so that I can feel fulfilled? I mean, Ian fell in love with Italy and he wanted to go for very different reasons than when he was married before, right? Mm-hmm. And then his dreams started to become reality, and you have to make it up as you go. Right. He couldn't just up and leave and have, I'm going to make up this amount of money. He didn't have $1 million. Love you, Ian. Sorry, I'm telling your finances. You don't have $1 million to just get up and leave and set it all up and buy everything from IKEA and an air conditioning unit and a new boiler all at once. You don't have it. So you work your way through those dreams to make it
there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow.
Except we spent all our money on the oodles.
Yeah. So, well, you make choices.
That's the choices, right? And here's the choice.
That's
you
right.
Can't see him because he's asleep right now, and I'm not about to disturb his little majesty.
No, don't.
Not a good idea. Right. And Steve says he's heading to Ian as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many reminders of how much when we have loss, we can change and shift with it. Mm-hmm. And during the loss, you change and shift. When Linda was dying, the kids were younger teenagers. Mm-hmm. And it was also prom and military ball season. And so the kids needed to have the outfits. And I needed to be home. So my mom and my cousin and friends took them out shopping. And my mom came home from the mall. She's like, we went into this store and I'm not sure we were supposed to be there, but the kids told me you let them go. That's not right. Mm-hmm. By the time we were done, she had gone from, I can't believe we went here to let's go back and look at the funny risque t-shirts and get some blue dye for their hair. Right?
I love it. I love it.
And Ian says because of loss, he's gained what I have now, as has
Yes.
Steve, as have I, as have you. Right?
Exactly.
All of the things. And it doesn't mean the loss doesn't hurt just as much.
Exactly.
We still miss them. They're still there. Right?
Yeah. You know, my mom, she was a big tchotchke lover. She had tons of tchotchkes. Well, I wanted tchotchkes too. She said, someday you'll have money. You make enough money, you can buy your own tchotchkes. So one day I'm dressed as a clown and I'm doing hospital clowning. And I looked in my bag and I had all these giveaways. That's what I call them I had hopping noses, hopping many things. I had red noses. I had lots of things that made you smile, things like that. And all of a sudden, someone asked, how do you get to buy all these things? And I said, my mother told me someday I'll make enough money to buy my own tchotchkes. And that's what I said to this person. It was funny. Yeah. Yeah. And I want to talk about another loss while you're, and this is specifically with children. And I think this happens with bio parents, that their children don't meet the goals in the bio parents' head. And so
the expectations are different than the reality.
That's right. And, you know, your child is a unique human being, and
an individual who gets to make their choices.
They get to make their choice, especially as they get older. So you feel bad that they're not, the doctor you always wanted. They didn't want to be a doctor. They wanted to be an artist, or they wanted to be this. And making peace with that will help your relationship, because even if you're not saying your disappointment, your child is feeling that. So as an adult, it's important to have that kind of self-reflection and recognize you had a loss of your dream. Can you transition to understanding your child and what they wanted to do? Can you make that transition of loss?
Can you support them and take that as a gain rather than a loss?
Nathan Lane, it's coming out more about how when he came out as gay, and how Robin Williams never brought it up, but knew and was always there with a supportive change of helping him to change his brain, Nathan's, that there is joy. Because when he said something to his mother, Nathan Lane, she said, I would rather you be dead, or something to that. And that's real common. And I think about parents who are not able to make the transition with their loved one to, okay, you've made some sort of transition. How can I follow? How can I do so with kindness and love and grieve my loss? And a lot of times the children do not let their parents grieve. They don't recognize that, because they're fighting so hard to be who they are. They're not able to. And I think that's also when your child is an adult, to recognize they have some work to do.
That's the anticipatory grief process, because they've had time to shift in their own heads, but their parents are being caught blindsided and they need to catch up. It
That's
is a
right.
process. It really
Mhm.
is, just like with every other loss. And when you are
Mhm.
looking at a loss through death, you also have to allow space for other people to catch up to where you are, or to catch up that you are going to be in Italy instead, right?
Yes. Yes.
Or raise oodles instead.
I'm craving his morning mandel bread, his contucci, as he says. I and so we probably should get off. It maybe I need breakfast or something.
I'm gonna need some recipes. My grandson, who's struggling with some learning issues, has also discovered the joy of cooking. So I'm gonna need to find some simple recipes that a young man could enjoy making.
You know what? How old is he?
7.
You know what? I may have some of those books that I need to get rid of, so I will send them to you.
Awesome sauces. Okay. And on that happy note, we hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. We hope
Mhm.
that the challenges are not too much and that you'll reach out for support if they are. And we will see everybody back here next Friday. And
Yay.
it is May. Wait, it'll be the second week of May. Yay.
Oh my gosh,
And
yes.
it'll
Well,
be Mother's Day weekend. So we'll talk about all the craziness of that.
blessings, Beltane blessings to everyone right now. And May Day, May Day, May Day, as Daryl liked to say on our anniversary.
Absolutely. Happy Friday, everyone. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Wait.
We're still live.
We are still live. I didn't hit the right button. Sorry, everyone.